And I'm looking forward to this time with you. I've enjoyed the food. The food is great here. You all need to move over to Building B. It's really great.
That's the ghetto, isn't it?
Pardon me? The ghetto, yeah. B stands for barracks. I don't know if you noticed, but during the Christmas season and New Year's, I lost my maid. She couldn't clean because she was on that holiday, you know, and the sheets, I had to change my own bed. And I had to take my sheets over to the laundry.
Talking ghetto.
Here's the bad part. The sheets didn't come back. And I went over to the laundry and I says, I'm looking. He says, what are you looking for, Dr. Burgess? I said, I'm looking for my sheets. But I says, apparently, nobody gives a sheet.
Young fella.
We had a push lawnmower. You know what I'm talking about? The push tank lawnmower?
I know very well.
I wanted to buy a gas-operated lawnmower. And I was going down to Sears to get one on sale. When I saw this little boy on the side of the road with a lawnmower, and a sign said, lawnmower, $20. I said, $20 for a lawnmower? I said, that's amazing. I said, son, does this thing work? He said, sure it works. So I said, okay, I gave him $20, and I went on home, and I kept pulling it and pulling it. It was in July. The more I pulled, the more I was perspiring. You know, pulling and pulling. And I went back and said, son, this thing doesn't work. He said, did you curse it? I said, no, son, I stopped using bad language a long time ago. He said, sir, if you just keep pulling that thing long enough, it'll come back to you. Well, we're all getting older. And I go to get my eyes checked, and they start talking loud. And I says, am I here for my ears or my eyes? And they get the point. There was one man that went over to get his ears examined because he was having trouble hearing, and his daughter took him over to have his ears checked. And the doctor looked in his ear and said, sir, you've got something in your ear. So he pulled on it and pulled out it was a suppository. I said, a suppository? The doctor said, a suppository? He said, yeah. And the guy said, oh, now I know what to do with my hearing aid. As we get older, we also lose our hair.
Who's getting older?
The front, you lose your hair. The back, you lose your hair. If you lose your hair in the front of your head, you are a thinker. If you lose your hair in the back of your head, you're a lover. If you lose your hair in the front of your head and the back of your head, you think you're a lover. Another thing I've noticed also here is, you know, every time I go to a program here at Cypress, they have, come on in and have some wine and cheese. Did you notice that? Sometimes they change it, says, come in and have some cheese and wine. There's always wine and cheese. You know what's going to happen? You're all going to end up being a bunch of constipated alcoholics.
That's still not as good as the hearing. The hearing aid takes care.
It's got something to do with the hearing aid.
I had a friend that would drink a bit, and he took to the road, and the highway patrolman pulled him over. Said, sir, put his foot on the running board. Remember the running boards? On the old cars? Put his foot on the running board, said, sir, you are inebriated. I believe that you're inebriated. He said, what do you mean? He says, you're drunk. He says, no, sir, I'm not drunk. He says, well, what's that between your legs there in that brown sack? He said, oh, that's my drinking water. He said, let me see it. He smelled it and says, this is not water, it's wine. He said, thank God, he did it again. I'm speaking in a lot of churches. As you know, I go to Rosewood twice a week and minister over there. But sometimes, next thing I'll be in Raleigh. And when I go to the church in Raleigh, two of them, they always want me to tell a joke before I get started in my sermon. So I tell them a joke. Well, I went to this one church, and I said, what I'm going to do, have a little fun, I said, I'm going to say one word, and I want you to come up with a song. So, oh, that's the fun. So I said, let's say, beautiful. And they started, oh, beautiful for spacious skies? Yeah. Oh, wonderful. So I said, how about river? How about doing rivers? And they said, shall we gather at the river? And so then I really stopped. I said, how about sex? The place went cold. They were staring at me like a possum does at an 18-wheeler, you know, in the nighttime. Finally, the silence was broken. A little old lady in the back of the church stood up and started singing, sex, precious memories, how they linger. One guy was very shy in the church. We couldn't get him to do anything. He was afraid of women. He was afraid to talk to them. And this one guy says, his name was Sam, he says, look, Tom, he says, here's the way you do it. Just follow me. So I went over to this lady, he says, hello, sweetheart. He says, what is your name? And she said, Rose. Oh, he said, Rose? That is such a sweet, lovely name. And guess what? I knew it must be Rose because you smell just like a rose. Now he said, Tom, see how easy that was? Now you try it. So he goes over to this lady, says, hi dear, says, I want to talk to you a little bit. Says, my name is Tom, you are, what is your name? She said, my name is Fanny. I said, I should have known. He says, you smell just like a Fanny. That was the end of that situation. When I was just out of seminary, I went to see people when they came to the congregation. I went to visit them. This little girl came into Sunday school, and I went to visit her. And my wife was with me in the car, and she could hear the conversation. And I rang the doorbell, and the little girl comes in. So I said, hi, honey. So glad to have you in Sunday school. Then her mother comes up to the door. Well, I realized that we were in a dairy farm. They were on a dairy farm. And she was one of the keepers of the dairy farm. And it was called O'Dowd's Dairy. I'll never forget that name, O'Dowd's Dairy. And when the mama came to the floor, to the front door, she would make Dolly Parton look very simple. She comes to the door, and there she stands with a white shirt on, with red letters, O'Dowd's Dairy. I'm just out of seminary, and I'm sitting there looking at her, and I says, lady, we just love your milk. And my wife was laughing. This is when I borrowed it. And the man that I borrowed it from is here. I won't tell him who it is, but he'll notice it right away. The church that wanted a bell ringer. Okay. And they advertised in the local paper for a bell ringer. And the guy shows up at the church and he had no arms. And he said, you can't do it. He says, you have to have arms to ring a bell. He says, where's the bell? He says, right over there. So he ran over there and he says, I'll take care of that. Hits that bell with his head and goes, bong. And he drops dead. They called the authorities. The policeman came out and said, who is this man? We said, we don't rightly know, but his face rings a bell. And so they had to get his brother to take his place. So his brother comes over, and he pulls the string to ring the bell, and the bell comes out of the belfry and kills him. They had to call the authorities again. And they says, who in the world is this guy? He said, we don't know exactly, but he's a dead ringer for his brother. We have in the church what we call potluck suppers. Have you ever heard of those before?
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's a good idea for us at Cypress. What do you think? Let's have a potluck supper. Okay, invite me over, please. So this lady cooked some delicious beans on the stove. You know, those lovely beans. And remember when we were kids, we had air rifles, and the air rifle little bullets, pellets, we kept on the top of the stove. Well, some of them fell off and hit in the beans. And they had the supper, and the lady called the lady who made the beans. She says, what in the world did you put in those beans? I said, I don't know, what happened? She says, well, I went home to feed the cat and shot the canary.
Oh, man.
You want to take that one back?
Can you explain that, please?
Can I explain
We get the cliff notes on that.
When I was young, we didn't have much of air conditioning. I never saw air conditioning much when I was young. Did you? It came into being, maybe, I don't know, when I was a teenager or mid-teens, and one day it was real hot, and this lady, you know, in those days you just left the doors open. Don't do that anymore. But she left the doors open, and she took all of her clothes off, everything, just like she came in the world, and she went down in the basement where it was cool, and started ironing. And while she was ironing, the meter reader came in. You know, he comes down the steps and goes in to read the meter and goes on back out. So, boy, she was embarrassed. She grabbed the only thing she could find in the basement. It was her son's football helmet. She took the football helmet and she put it over her the best she could, hid in the corner, and she thought she had made it through. And as he went up the stairs, he hollers back to the lady. He says, lady, I don't know who you play for, but I hope your team wins. Also, when we were growing up, we had what we call a disc jockey. Do you remember them? You remember the disc jockey? You call the station, say, would you please play so-and-so? I'm dedicating this to my girlfriend. Her name is so-and-so, and they play it. Well, this girl called to have her favorite number played over the air. She says, sir, you have 10 little fingers and 10 little toes in Alabama. He scratched his head and said, no, sweetheart, well, I don't have 10 little fingers and 10 little toes in Alabama, but I got a wife and 18 kids in Texas. She said, is that a record? He said, I want to tell you it's above average. I hope our time together is been just that.
Thank you so much. You have an encore for us.
I have an encore. Okay. One more.
Let me know.
One more.
No, she's going to do one more.
These two children, one was about 7, the other one was about 6. And they went to their mother and said, Mommy, we're getting married. So she thought she'd go along with them, you know. It was funny. I said, oh, really? You could get married? What are you going to do? Where are you going to live? So we're going to live next door. How are you going to live next door? Her sister's going to college. We're going to have her room. Oh, she thought that was cute, you know. So she tried again and says, well, suppose you have a baby. He said, so far we've been lucky.
Turn around.
I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that.
Thank you.